And that's what we're digging in on this morning. It is time to talk a little bit about the law. It is time for Legally Served. Franz, what's happening, dude?
Just here to talk law and kick butt.
Wait, isn't that supposed to be followed with an I'm fresh out of law?
No.
Okay, good.
I don't know where I'm going with this.
Okay, yeah, no, I did.
I was misinformed.
I was. All right, so we're going to get that. We'll have a whole lot more on that throughout the show, but we got a lot of topics to cover within Legally Served. Let's start with Mystical.
The rapper.
Yes, the rapper.
Okay.
Yeah, make him say is very, very poorly named at this point. Rapper Mystical is asking for a judge to reconsider his bail or reconsider his bond in an Ascension rape case. Attorneys representing the musician, whose real name is Michael Tyler, presented several motions on Monday, including a request to reinstate bond. Tyler, who has a previous conviction for sexual assault, has been jailed without bond since July when he was first accused of raping this other woman, holding her prisoner for a little bit until he decided not to anymore.
Well, she owed him money, right?
She allegedly owed him money, and he was allegedly holding her prisoner.
But she owed him money. I'm not victim blaming, but no, tongue in cheek.
Yes.
So he's being held without bond.
Right.
Okay. So one of the factors that comes with bond determination and bond amounting, that's not really a word, but setting a bond, is strength of the case.
Okay.
If the case has issues, a judge can consider that in possibly setting or lowering a bond.
Okay.
In this case, there might be some issues. There might be. He alleges some issues.
He does?
I think his team is alleging that, one, he tried to get a restraining order against this woman for over 20 years.
Yeah.
Or he's been fighting with her. She's baby mama. And I mean that in a term of endearment.
Yes.
And
I think it's actually a technically legal term now.
So
baby mama is a legal term.
Long story made short, there may be more to it than maybe she alleged. That's what his team is alleging. And if that is factually true, the judge can consider that in setting a bond and setting a bond that's, quote, reasonable. Now, he can make a bond.
What about the mitigating, not mitigating circumstances, but his past? Does his past play into bond? For example,
prior arrest, prior allegations.
A previous conviction for sexual assault.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
What about, and follow me here, what about the rest of the world? And here's where I'm going with this. How many times during this segment do we have stories about bonds that are set ridiculously low? How many times during this segment or this whole show do we have stories about the police catching people who were already out on bond on something else? Can there be the want to appease the people? Like,
there's a balance, right?
Right. That's where I'm going.
Justice is about balance. Justice is about a bond, by the way, is to ensure attendance, to protect the community, to make sure that the community is safe, to make sure that no one else falls victim to an alleged crime. He's presumed innocent. He's presumed innocent. That all being said, he has a constitutional right to a bond determination, and he's presumed innocent. So that means what? Maybe he should be afforded a bond. And by the way, bond has a financial component to it.
It does.
So if he doesn't show up, or if he commits a new crime, he would lose the money that he would be posting.
Hey, this isn't specific to this case, but I've always been curious. Does a person's personal finances factor into the bond?
Absolutely.
Really?
Your ability to make a bond factors in.
Interesting.
So because at the end of the day, we don't want it to be unfair to poor people. So because if you're poor and you're accused of it, let me rephrase that.
Continue.
All right. So you have society, lower class, middle class, upper class, and all in between, right? If Mystical had low income, the judge sets whatever bond the judge sets, right? But the judge should consider, okay, if this guy has a whole bunch of money, he's a flight risk because he has the financial means to do what? Move to a non-extradition country.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Versus you and I, we may not have the same financial means.
There is that danger. Now, don't just leave that sit there. I'm just going to hang on that one, man.
Oh, man, I celebrate Mystical.
That factors into this as well, right?
His feed is off the charts, Dara says.
Very nicely contributed on our Facebook feed.
Yeah, so...
Wait, we got to take a break here.
Okay.
By the way, if you're not watching the show on Facebook, it does continue through the breaks. We're going to hit our local news, our national news, our local news, traffic, weather, He's attorney Franz Borghardt. We do Legally Served every Wednesday at about this time. And yeah, keep those comments coming. It's on Talk 1073's Facebook page. We are live on Facebook throughout the entirety of the show. And that'll continue right after we check news. Oh, don't forget, top stories and trending coming your way at the top of next hour. We'll have a lot more about the stormwater fee.
So can we listen to some mystical music, or is that insensitive to to sexual assault victims? Is this like R. Kelly, where I can't listen to R. Kelly anymore?
I'll still listen to R. Kelly. Why not? It's not.
Well, here's the question: he's still presumed innocent, Alondra.
That's
like
correct.
if you said after he's convicted, you still listen to Michael Jackson's music?
I do.
Was he ever convicted?
No. Michael Jackson was never convicted of anything. No.
No, he wasn't acquitted.
That's the last really, really good one, too.
I think you can listen to the music until they're convicted.
Oh,
Once they're convicted.
No. Because Step in the Name of Love is a banger.
I ain't trying to be cruel.
Step in the name of love. Okay. Okay, that's fine. Don't let tallying yourself lead to further mistakes.
So Nyquilus is suggesting that Ignition Remix trumps
Step.
it. No. Ignition Remix is like the party dance music that you can't not, you can't not dance to. It trumps pedophilia.
I don't think that's what he was saying.
I don't think that's what he was
I don't
saying
think that's
either.
what he was saying. Morning, Nyquilus. What's happening, dude? Okay, and for editing purposes, the segment will remain the segment. The time checks will be on the front end. So when you post this post the audio on demand later, obviously for the video, it's straight through, right? But for the audio on demand later, after the time check, I will shift gear. I will change, and say, okay, diving back in.
Yeah.
Kristen Smart is the name of the woman. California jury finds Paul Flores guilty.
Like
Ruben
college
Flores not
sweetheart. Beautiful young lady.
guilty. Like 90s cute. What?
You've been married for how many years?
21.
Successful years.
Uh-huh.
So I can't even make commentary on this. I have 2 failed marriages. I mean, I came in like a wrecking ball. Nyquilus, that's the worst attorney interpretation of a comment ever. Truth. After the second divorce, you're kind of like, maybe there's something wrong with me. Maybe you got to look inside a little bit. After the 4th divorce. After the 4th divorce, it may not be them. Oh, man. Third makes me so anxious. Sober me is so anxious about the idea of getting married a 3rd time because I don't want to get divorced a 3rd time.
They call that the hat trick in hockey. Flock up, T-Bob!
Are you going to play some mystical? I'm glad we bullied you into that, compromising your feelings.
No, there's another one. It's who was the guy that did Uptown Funk with Bruno Mars? The guitar player? Mark Ronson. He did a song with Mark Ronson called Feels Right. But you got to make sure it's the clean version.
No, Nyquilus.
Nope. Yeah. Feel right in this mother.
Nyquilus, you can be AG and say and do all sorts of crazy stuff, and people are okay with that. Nyquilus wants me to run for AG.
How else would you describe that?
She's gorgeous. She's gorgeous. She's a beautiful young lady.
Kristen Smart.
she wouldn't look the same way today. She'd be
Well,
now
there's a lot of
20.
decomp.
Too soon.
I hate myself.
He said something that was simultaneously hilarious.
Franz said she wouldn't look the same today, and I said, yeah, there's a lot of decomp.
You're layering. You layer here.
Yes. Well, plug in the World War II space
So
heater.
I have the Borghardt Law Firm Columbia activewear shirt underneath the Banana Republic collar shirt that is culminated with the Patagonia Borghardt Law Firm zip up. You need a now look, hold on.
I have the hat.
If you had a Borghardt Law Firm Patagonia zip up like this, you'd wear the heck out of it. Patagonia's legit.
I 'Slightly jealous of Franz's Borghardt Law Patagonia zip up this morning, and we get a look at that forecast because of it. Here is WBRZ meteorologist Marissa Nuzzo.
If you commit a major felony and hire me, you can maybe get.
Yeah, it's like, when DraftKings says you get $200 in free bets with your first $5
You
bet.
definitely get a Yeti Borghardt Law Firm Yeti mug.
I do
Eric
like that.
said, point to where Patagonia is.
Did I give you one of those?
What, a Yeti? No, you didn't, but I'm good on the Yeti
Eric,
front.
it's in South America, right? Next to it's next to Argentina, right?
What's in South America? Fratagonia? .638 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Enjoying a little bit of the sounds of Mystical this morning. That was a little bit later on in his career. We are looking at 42 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge right now to start things off. Let's dive back into the conversation with attorney Franz Borghardt. Moving over to a different topic, though, and this is one that I think you and I are going to dig in on a lot in the near future because it's becoming a trend, and that is the podcast world playing junior detective, the podcast world getting involved in cold cases, wrongful convictions, as we're all just completely enamored with true crime in this country. We're starting to see this play out in real life. A California jury has found Paul Flores, the man accused in the 1996 murder of Kristen Smart, guilty of first-degree murder, according to a news release from the San Luis Obispo County District Attorney's Office. Meanwhile, a separate jury found Flores' father, Ruben, now 81 years old, not guilty of being an accessory to Smart's murder, the release said. Franz, bring me up to speed on this story. There's a lot to unpack.
So, cold case. She basically disappears from a college party. I don't want to call it a frat party. It was a college party. They suspected that this guy did it, but didn't have sufficient evidence. They probably should have brought the case forward back then. They didn't. They found some remains underneath the house. I think it's the father's house. And then they started moving forward. And they were also able to use other crimes evidence to show some others, like Mystical, some other sexual assaultive behavior of this guy. They go to trial. What's interesting is a true crimes podcast is what resuscitated this case, brought it to light, and to bring it at a local level. So we have a young lady that recently was murdered in the Mid-City region. You see the signs all around Baton Rouge. I cannot think of her name right now, which proves my point. Okay, it was a young lady that was killed around the depot, electric depot. Do you remember this? Shot from both sides.
Allie Rice.
Allie. Don't
Yes.
forget Allie, right?
Yes.
Okay. At some point, if the leads go dry, at some point, if they cannot figure out who killed her, it becomes a cold case, right?
Yes.
And it either fizzles into obscurity, it either fizzles into, if we get some DNA evidence or something, or something can bring it to the forefront. And these true crime podcasts are bringing these cases to the forefront.
Okay, so to go along with that train of thought, and by the way, this podcast is called Your Own Backyard. Chris Lambert is the one who launched the podcast back in 2019. But to go along with that thought, you wouldn't have the True Crime Podcast if you didn't have our fascination with the True Crime Podcast. They have exploded. I mean, Serial was one of the first ones, but they have exploded since then. You can't, at any given time, when you turn on your television, you're going to find at least 4 to 5 true crime shows going on. Investigation Discovery is through the roof right now. This is our fascination that leads to this being profitable.
So you and I and legal show segments are part of the issue, because what we have done is we have drawn interest in. There's always been interest in crime,
yes,
and criminal investigation,
yes,
and criminal prosecution. We've had TV shows. We've had Law and Order. We've had TV shows. Murder, She Wrote. All too soon. Murder, She Wrote.
No. But and you're not even going far enough back.
Yeah.
It's not like this is a recent fascination at all.
Correct.
Sherlock Holmes, for crying out loud, was crime.
Yeah. So you have that, and then you have the means, the vehicle for people to get involved in real life cases. Social media. If you look at the social media commentary on Twitter, on Facebook, the comments from people, they're engaged in these cases.
Yes.
Some of these people who have nothing to do with these cases are as emotionally attached to these cases as family members. Or at least they want you to believe
they feel like it. Yeah. Because the difference is they can get emotionally attached, but they can emotionally detach very, very quickly. Whereas
unsolved mysteries.
Whereas Paul Rice cannot. Whereas Ches Ciccone cannot. Their emotional connection does not go away.
And if these podcasts playing on this interest, playing on people's craving to be a part of the show, a part of the action, helps solve these cold cases, I don't see a problem with it. It's when it goes the other direction that I'm concerned.
And this is what you and I talked about last week, which that segment's available on demand at talk1073.com if you wanted to check it out. But when it goes down that other path, you have what I can only refer to as the potential lynch mob.
Right. So the other extreme is, could it be that a true crime documentary or podcast, could that get it wrong and lead people to believe that somebody did something that they didn't do? And look, Amber Heard, Johnny Depp, we're using media to try cases.
Oh, we absolutely are.
Yeah. Which is not a bad thing.
Well, no, because at least you having a job with Court TV.
Dude, I love me some Court TV.
I know you do.
They love them some Franzi.
I know they do.
Right. But again, here's the thing. I can't complain about true crime podcasts while simultaneously I'm on Court TV once or twice a week doing essentially legal commentary. Brian Haldane, Mornings with Brian Haldane.
Okay, there's a huge difference here. There's a huge difference between analysis and speculation. If I'm out to solve a cold case, there's going to be a lot of speculation involved in that. Now, Woody Overton does the Real Life, Real Crime podcast, and he is he's the GOAT. I'll go ahead and put him at Tom Brady status right now.
I need to
meet Woody. Yeah, you do. You need to have him on. Yes, absolutely. Woody Overton, former detective in Livingston Parish, former detective in Livingston Parish, has the Real Life, Real Crime podcast. It is the most listened to true crime podcast in America. He's right here in our own backyard. But what he does is he brings actual detective skills to the table. He brings a career of training and swag to the table. He's got that skill set. I don't know if random Joe Blow who buys them a roadie board, a set of headphones, and a microphone decides, I'm going to get into this because I've always wanted to. You don't have that level of training.
Watch this butterfly effect. Ready?
Yeah.
Should Mystical get out on a bond? If I say something that somebody runs with and a group of people run with, it can create social media movement. That social media movement can create political pressure. And ultimately, you have judges and district attorneys who are elected. Now, not that I have that kind of stroke that my commentary can lead to that kind of a butterfly effect, but there is a butterfly effect throughout the system. Like, look, don't tell me that DA's offices around the country don't have pressure when a spotlight is on their office. Or a judge. We've seen judges in national cases step up their game a little bit when they know that the cameras are in the courtroom. So,
and now you have a 25-year-old murder that's been prosecuted because of this. We're going to break in just a minute. When we come back from this break, and I'm going to toss this out here. Let's get the first half of your answer now, or the first part of your answer now, and go back into it. Trying a cold case as a criminal defense attorney, podcast world aside, trying a cold case as a criminal defense attorney, would you just be chomping at the bit for how many things you could tear apart?
I've tried cold cases as a defense attorney in this parish. Mm-hmm. I've also been hired as a consultant by a family to help out. They are tough. And yes, there are lots of issues.
They are tough to prove or tough to disprove, and that's the tease right there.
If there's forensic DNA evidence, it can cut both ways.
All right. So we're going to take a quick break. We're going to check traffic. Taylor Sharp will have traffic in just a minute. We will have Your Money Now, Legally Served with attorney Franz Borghardt is going to continue after this. Hey, don't forget, Talk 107.3 FM is your home for Westwood One's coverage of Thursday night, Sunday night, and Monday night football. You get your NFL week started right here every single week, Thursday night at 7 p.m., right after Kevin Ford's Let's Go Fishing. We take you to the NFL, and that will continue all season long. All right. Legally Served coming back in just a little bit. Hey, we're not getting too far away from today's local headlines as well. The mayor wants the stormwater drainage fee removed from the Metro Council docket. It all started with Congressman Garrett Graves yesterday. He'll be with us less than 1 hour from right now. 7:35 is DC Current.
So, in response to Nyquilus, hashtag legally serve me. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, it's all good.
All right, legally serve me. Hashtag legally serve me. That Nyquilus' hashtag. Can Brooks claim ineffective assistance of counsel if he's taking his shirt off and representing himself? You remember Brooks? We talked about him on Monday.
Brooks.
Yeah. The answer is no.
No.
You cannot claim ineffective assistance, which is one of the reasons why you might want to have an attorney, so you can point the finger and say, no matter how much I murdered all these people in the parade.
No matter how much I murdered them?
Yeah.
I didn't just murder them. I murdered them.
And Alondra, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
That's funny. No matter how much I murdered them.
No matter how much I murdered them.
And I murdered them a lot.
Well, a car is a dangerous weapon.
It's an assault vehicle.
Dara writes about Gabby Petito's family thanking the internet sleuths for their helping in finding her. It's true.
Gabby Petito, wasn't that one of Woody's ones? That was a real life, real crime one.
Where's Woody been? Where's Woody been all my life?
I think that's the tagline for Viagra.
Buzz. There's a snake in my boot. What's our next mystical song? Yeah, okay. I listened to Adele on the way here. I had Apple Music play Adele's Essentials because apparently she has an Essentials.
It's just, yes.
I will say that Facebook affords better interaction
Than YouTube? Yeah, but
Yeah.
they mute the shit out of us. Hey, by the way, and I might be too late for this, my apologies. I did not give my wife her personalized weather forecast this morning. Gonna be sunny all day long, but cool all day long. Your highs are gonna be in the low 60s today, which means if you're sitting in your car, you're probably gonna get warm because you're soaking up all that sun, but the moment you get out, you're gonna feel it again. Now, overnight low tonight is getting down to cold once again. It's getting down to close to freezing again tonight. Tomorrow is when we'll start to tick back up into the 70s, Friday in the 80s, all the way up until next week, where next Thursday, there's a 10% chance of rain in Laurentian. Why Laurentian? Because it's personalized. Your money now? This is that's the constant paying attention.
Oh, Dara. I wear layers so I can strip.
That's fair. 10 whole percent. Yes, 10 whole percent. And I believe a 30% chance of rain next Friday.
Drought. So I don't have court today, but I do have my custom BR mattress being delivered to my house. And let me tell you, BR mattress, because there was a slight delay in the delivery, no fault of BR mattress, they actually delivered a comparable mattress to my house to let me use so that I could start enjoying sleep.
It's awesome. So had Mitch, I got Mitch on the show the other day. We had Zach West. He's a basketball coach and trainer. He's putting on a first responders tournament to raise money for scholarships. And he had like a move-in package for college freshmen with an air fryer and a microwave and all this. I'm like, bro, you want a mattress with this? That's if I'm college.
Dude, is that bougie to bring a mattress into a dorm? Like, that's better than the dorm single?
I don't know.
Single, what is it?
Do you care? Like, call me bougie all day long if I'm getting a good night's sleep.
Let me tell you, well, look, one, have I ever led you to believe that there's anything wrong with bougie?
No. No, bougie is where this man eats. No, I don't think it's bougie, but I was thinking more along the lines of for an apartment than a dorm.
David, I don't have a bow tie on because I do not have court today.
Yeah.
I'm going to the prison.
652 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Still looking at 42 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. CBS World News Roundup coming your way in just a little bit, but right now we got one more segment to go here with attorney Franz Borghardt. We do Legally Served every Wednesday. Franz, as we were going into the break, I was teasing the idea as a criminal defense attorney trying a cold case, and you've walked down this path before.
So I've tried multiple cold cases in Baton Rouge, a serial killer cold case, a murder cold case. I also, do you remember there was a cold case that was recently tried a couple of years back that they ended up pleading that was related to one of the owners of Sonic. His brother was murdered.
Okay.
And I was actually hired by the family as a consultant to reverse engineer how I would prosecute or defend the case.
Okay.
Which was one of the coolest gigs. I mean, it was one of the coolest clients I ever had because I got to reverse engineer. I mean, I got to step back and basically this is how I would prosecute it, which, by the way, that's kind of what we do on all cases as defense attorneys, as I try to play the game of, okay, if I were the prosecutor, if I were Dana Cummings, how would I do this? Here's the deal. Evidence collection is different. Reports are different in their methodology in cold cases. It doesn't mean that the cases aren't thoroughly investigated, but for example, the things we can do with DNA now
right.
makes a difference in those cold cases. Interview, the scope of our ability to interview people, the wealth of knowledge that we have on social media. Like, remember, we're living in a world now to where if my dog escapes out of my backyard, I can make a post about my dog, and it will help find my dog.
Oh, it happens every day on Nextdoor.
Who has this guy sexually assaulted? Well, people start coming forward because there's a common thread there.
Yes.
So, yes, there are lots of issues to poke holes with. In this case in California, they didn't have a body. There was like an absence of a body.
Right.
Like there were some genetic biological remains, but they didn't have a body. So one of the issues was, can you prove murder happened? Is she not kicking it in Costa Rica right now?
Right next to
stop.
No,
Stop.
Okay, I was gonna make a Tiger King reference, but no.
Carol's husband?
Yeah, right next to Carol's husband. They're all down there just in Costa Rica, just chilling. But from a criminal defense perspective, is there something to the idea that the older all the evidence gets, the older all the case gets, the easier it is to find holes in it?
Well, it's easier because witnesses disappear. Witnesses are not as easy to find, okay? Things you didn't do 20 years ago, you can't go back and do if it were like a couple of months back. So lack of preservation of certain things. I mean, look, we live in a world now where GPS tracking on phones. There's videos everywhere. We're videoed as a society.
You know, what about the officers behaving badly into this? Not to say that there are in this particular case, but we've seen recently in Baton Rouge where we've had to go back over a number of old cases because of the behavior of officers later on down the road. What about that factor into this?
So I've said before, I'll say it again. Time is the ally of a criminal defense attorney. the more time goes, the more things can go wrong, including officers getting arrested or indicted for behaving badly.
Mm-hmm.
Boys will be boys.
Or
Girls will be girls.
Yeah.
Didn't we have, I know we're running out of time, but didn't we have a story out of like across the river?
In Plaquemine, yeah, we're getting to that in our last couple of minutes.
So long story made short, yes, cold cases are double tough, but you got DNA evidence. You got DNA evidence where it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
You know.
Plaquemine Mayor Ed Reeves said as of Tuesday morning, Kenny Payne does not plan to resign from his position as police chief. This is new news from yesterday to today. Payne's lawyer, Chuck Ward, told our news partners at WBRZ Tuesday evening he has not heard from his client and is not aware of any changes to what he told WBRZ on Monday. In yesterday's Outside In, we told you that Plaquemine Police Chief Kenny Payne, on his lawyer, Chuck Ward, said his client will be resigning as the city's top cop to avoid criminal charges tied to a case where a woman alleged he crossed the line with her in exchange for having charges dropped against her boyfriend. Now, I'm looking up at the clock and realizing we're in the heart of carpool time and there's kids in the car, so we need to be delicate with this.
I think you were saying that more for my benefit.
No. I was saying this as a reminder to myself as well, because we got a little more descriptive when we did this yesterday.
So one of the biggest things you can do wrong as a police officer is to offer
services or offer to have services performed upon you.
Protect and serve differently for services.
Yes. Okay.
I can make this go away.
Oh, yeah. How much do you really love them?
Now the flip side is proving this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, shy of physical evidence, and I don't mean that tongue in cheek, or having a recording. And we've had.
I don't know where the tongue is.
Oh.
Okay, so here's how the physical evidence part of this works. There is none, because he wrote it down on a Post-it note,
right,
and then kept the Post-it note and threw it away or disposed of it later.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, when the story first came out and we all read, he wrote it down on a Post-it note. Well, just hand me the Post-it note.
Why wouldn't you just use hand gestures? Like, why would you put it on a Post-it note? But it sounds so ridiculous.
Yes.
Doesn't it sound kind of like maybe it did happen?
Maybe. Yes. So here's my actual legal question on this. Would resigning his post as chief of police in any way at all affect criminal charges?
So if I was advising him, he doesn't resign because the optics imply what? He's doing something wrong.
It's an admission of guilt.
Simultaneously, if you're the DA's office, you're like, he needs to not be directly involved in investigations. Now, he has other police officers working under him. Okay? So it's not like, stop. It's not like this should destroy all the cases that are being investigated by that law enforcement agency. It would certainly affect cases that he was directly involved with, and any female that had interaction with him could easily say, what? It happened to me too. Hashtag me too. So, yeah, it's a pickle.
So much innuendo.
It's a pickle.
So much innuendo.
Sweet, not sour.
I'll
see you guys later.
Attorney Franz Borghardt joins us every Wednesday for Legally Served, sometimes for a bonus segment like we had on Monday. If you missed any part of it, it'll be available on demand at talk1073.com or on my YouTube page. We'll have it posted up there after the show as well. Franz, appreciate you, brother.
All right.
We're going to take a quick break.